You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and I'm Frank because I have to be. On today's show, we are talking with Micheline and Montreuil. She is a lawyer and a transgendered person and has come into studio to share a little bit of her life with us. Welcome to studio, Micheline.
Hello, Frank. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight.
Pleasure is mine. Let's start right away. Let's start off with where you were born and tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Well, I'm born in Quebec City, and my life, I may say, was just a standard life for, I may say, a young boy. So I have a childhood without any problem, grow slowly as, I may say, a strong, lovely boy.
And when did you first feel different, or when did you first learn that you felt different?
Well, it was about the age of 14, 15, 16. Was looking for some people, some dresses, some female undergarment, asking myself why they have so lovely undergarment and we don't have, and just put on my first bra at the age of 14, 15, 16, just to look what it is. Curiosity.
And what did it make you feel when you started to experiment with cross-dressing?
I may say aroused a little bit, because it was different. It was the forbidden thing. You know, it's always more exciting when it is forbidden. And often you say, and you know that when you have a dream, it is more arousing to have a dream than just to realize it. So it was a kind of fantasy. Just something lovely to live.
And during this time, because of course at the time, and sometimes even today, it's a very taboo thing, was there anyone that you were able to confide in growing up?
No, it was always a secret. You know, usually transvestite, transgender, transsexual are what we call in English closeted people. We live in a closet. We don't wish that anybody knows about it, because some people are afraid of that. In fact, in my case, I have lost my job because I was one. And just today I have received a judgment of the Superior Court of Quebec, breaking down a decision of an arbitrator because I wish to gain back my job. And this battle began in December 1997, and we are now in November 2005, so we have passed 8 years in front of the tribunal, and it is not over. I know that I will win, that I will gain back my job as a teacher, but it's a very, very long battle, and you know why so many people just quit or resign without doing a battle, because they don't have enough money to conduct this kind of battle. It's very long, it's very expensive.
And what was your motivation for continuing on with this fight?
Because they have not the right to fire me for that. You know, they have fired me because I was seen in a shopping center dressed as a woman.
Were you still a man at the time? Or had
Yes.
you already gone through the operation?
No, I was a man at this time.
So you were a man, you were out in public dressed as a woman, and they fired you based on that.
That's right. Even if, at the opinion of the student, I was the best teacher in my department.
What department?
They have even signed a petition in my favor.
So your students even fought to keep you on?
Yes.
What department were you teaching?
Law. Procedure in front of the tribunals. So you may guess that I am my own lawyer, and I am even the lawyer of the trade union for defending myself against the college. But you know, I am lucky because I have the knowledge for doing this kind of battle, and fortunately I am enough wealthy to be able to conduct this battle too.
Do you think a lot of people would want to fight a similar battle as you, but just don't have the resources?
Yes, that's right. Many. I may tell you that many, and when I say many, many means many, teacher has been fired from my college for any kind of discrimination reason, and they don't have the money to do the fight. They don't have the resources. Look, I am out of my job since 8 years. Think about that. And when you are a transgender and transvestite, try to find a new job. It's not easy.
So you believe there's a high level of discrimination against the transgendered and
transvestite? Oh yes, there is. And the only way to to fight them is just to conduct the fight and lead it. You know, even a bank refused to give me a job, and I sued them in front of the court. And at that moment, the judge asked the vice president of the bank, "Hey, guy, in the 16,000 employee of this bank, is there at least one job for Micheline?" And the vice president said, "No." So it's not maybe, perhaps, or something like that. It's no job for her. She's a transgender, and we don't trust her. That's all.
The issue for them was trust?
But I said, because you are transgender, you are very special. Perhaps you will you will have a bad influence on our customer. Maybe you will have a bad influence on our other employee. It's like to have a black people. Maybe other people will turn black because you are black, or if you are gay, other people will become gay too. No, it's just a kind of
what do you think
discrimination.
What do you think that fear is based on?
Nothing. Just because we are looking different. Just say that. Oh, it's not politically correct now. You know what it is. If you are not, I may say, a white male, 30 years, 6 foot, 180 pounds, you don't have the good profile.
Let's talk about your education. You were a law professor, so obviously before that, you are an advocate now, you went to law school. Tell me about your upbringing regarding your education, going to law school, and why you became a lawyer.
Oh, no reason, because perhaps in the family we have many lawyers of our notary. You know, I have now 6 university diploma, and I am running 2 other programs, one that I expect to end next year, so I will have in no more than 1 year 8 university diploma. You have the choice: common law, civil law, ad management, business administration, industrial relation, learning, and ethics. And I am unable to find a job.
So you have 6 university degrees?
Yes,
and you're
first and second cycle. And I have begun also my studies for a PhD in law. So,
have you found the same type of discrimination in the education world as opposed to the business world?
I may say yes at the lower level, but less at the university level, because I'm teaching at university right now as a part-time teacher, but I am teaching, and I am teaching ethics.
A very good course then, I would imagine, for you.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about how being a transgendered person has affected your family situation?
Well, the first thing that happened when I was publicly going to my parents' home dressed as a woman, my father told me that if I have to be dressed as a woman, I may forget to come in the future. And you know what I have done?
What?
Exactly what he told me. I have forgotten to go back at my parents' home.
So you're no longer in contact with your parents?
Yes, because 3 months after, my father called me back and said, "Well, you may come back."
But for 3 months, you just...
Yes.
Really? And you were ready to walk away from your family?
Yes, because if I have no choice, I cannot. You know the old proverb: you may bring a horse to the river, but you cannot force him to drink. It's the same thing. If they don't accept me like that, they don't accept me, and that's all.
Were you living with your parents when this happened?
No. No, I was in my own house.
And asking about, do you have your own family, and how did they react to this decision?
Well, I have lost the spouse, I may word the spouse, the common law wife that I have at this time, and I found a new one 3 years later.
Okay, so when you were with your first common law wife, this was before the operation?
Yes.
And did you ever confide in her that you had these feelings? Did she know that you were...
She knew about that because the first day that I met her in 1982, I showed myself dressed as a woman. But, dress as a woman at home is one thing. Dress as a woman outside is another thing. And be a public figure in house, newspaper, radio, and television station, it's another thing too. So when it became too public, she just stepped down.
So
usually when you are a TG or a TS or a TV full-time, you lost family, you lost spouse, you lost children, you lost some friends, and so on. So it's not a surprise to lose someone, but you have to deal with. You have the choice between the life that you wish to live, or the life that someone will impose to you. You know, I will give you an example. When I have chosen my wedding dress, because I got into matrimony 2 years ago, one of the sellers told me a story about one of her customers. They were two girls, two lesbians who wished to go into matrimony, and both wished to wear a pants and a tuxedo, smoking, something like that. And there was no problem for the two girls. But one of the mothers do a very huge crisis to his daughter and told her that if she does not put a dress on her wedding, all the family will not come, she will be banned, and so on. And that's all. So the girl, in tears, just put a dress for the wedding, and she was crying all during the wedding. And when the clerk told me about that, you know what was my answer?
What was your answer?
I said, if I was this girl, what I would have done would be very simple. I will say, okay, mother, I will put a dress on you. We will take how many pictures that you wish, but before the wedding. And you will take 10 or 100 pictures if you wish. I will be lovely in a dress. And after you have the wedding shot session will be over, I will put back my smoking and get into matrimony in a smoking with my girlfriend in a smoking too. Because it will be my wedding, and it will be my picture for my wedding. So if I do not wish to see me in a dress, I will see me in a smoking like my girlfriend too. But she was not thinking about that. She put a dress, and she has a picture of her in a wedding dress, and she does not show them because she hurt looking at her in the dress. It is our wedding, so it is the way that you must do. It's the way that we wish to see us in the future.
How do you balance doing what you want for yourself and wanting to, please your family? Because that is something that's important to a lot of people, is to make their family happy and to please them.
I have something that I may seem very easier. I have just one life to live, and I wish to live it as a woman. So if you don't like that, that's all. Forget about me. It's not the life for the other that I have to live. It's mine. It's my life. So if I wish to live as a woman with a bra, dress, panties, and so on, it is my choice. I will not change my choice just to please you and to unplease me. So look, it's like when you are a black or an homosexual. You are black and you are black. So accept me as a black. If you don't accept me, I will say, have my finger in your ass. But it's me. That's all. If I am gay, I am gay. I love men, and that's all. If I am handicapped, I am missing a leg. I don't have my leg. So you may like it or not like it. You may feel uncomfortable, but I don't have my left leg. So what do you wish that I say? I don't have it. So it's just people that must live with us the way that we are.
Now let's talk about when you first made the decision to go through the operation. At this point, you were with a woman.
Don't forget that I am still, I may say, half in the processes. I am not the full TS right now. I am still a TG.
Oh, what is it?
Transgender. So it means that I have boobs, but I have what I say, a beautiful external big clitoris.
Okay. So you haven't finished the entire operation process.
That's right.
All right.
And I have no reason to go further right now.
So you'd be happy staying the way you are?
For the moment, why not? Because my spouse, my new one, the one that I married 2 years ago, loved this little extra.
Okay, so you haven't completely lost the penis.
That's right.
You still have something there, which is
a big one. I'm sure enough big to match yours.
I can't comment on that without getting into trouble.
But you may figure it.
Well, I'm sure our listeners can have very good imaginations, and they can fill in the gaps themselves.
Anyway, our listener will be able to do it, so.
I'm sure. What was it that made you decide to go through that operation? I mean, you were already a transvestite at the time?
Yes, I live full-time as a woman since May 13, 1998.
May 13, 1998. And is that after you had the operation, or is that when you went into the
No, this date was very easy. If I wish to live half a man as a woman, I have to change of clothing at least 4, 5, 6 times a day. So put makeup, remove makeup, put dress, remove dress, put shirt, remove shirt, put blouse. So it was completely crazy. So I say, okay, from this day, May 13, 1998, no more a man, just a woman. And that's all.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and we'll be back right after this.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kerman. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes a perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. How do you make your sex life with a new lover unique? How do you give her experiences that she will remember for years to come? What are the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover? How do you make up for lack of sexual experience or skilled expertise? How do you make sure she is still thinking of you, even when other guys are hitting on her? Or is she on a date with someone else? This program has those answers and more, including an emotional needs analysis of these sexual experiences you are going to enjoy with your new lover. The rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. Buy this program now at franktalks.com.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and I'm Frank because I have to be. In studio today we have Micheline and Montreuil. She is a lawyer and a transgendered person. Welcome back to studio, Micheline.
It's a pleasure again to talk to you, Frank.
Let's go back to something we talked about but didn't really get into in the last segment. The process of coming to the decision that you no longer wanted to live as a man who was living as a woman, that you wanted to actually live as a woman.
Yes.
And go through the operation. What was the process going through in your mind?
I mean, it's not a very logical process, because someday you decide that you wish to be. You know that you have to be. You know that you wish to be, that you want to be, that you need to be. But it's not very logical, in meaning that it's more a lot of feeling, a lot of impression that you wish to be someone different. And you just someday put on a bra, panties, hose, dress, and put on some makeup and say, well, from now I am a girl. I can't explain it, because it's more a question of feeling. So if I wish to explain to you what it is, I just say, look, this morning I've decided that from now on I will be a girl, and that's how. And it's like when you are in love with someone. Can you tell exactly why you are in love?
No, you can't.
No. So why you are a girl? I feel that I am one.
When you were a transvestite, though, you were already receiving so much prejudice, so much resistance. Weren't you at all afraid that the resistance and the prejudice would climb even higher if you went through with the operation?
I was thinking many things at the same time. The first one is, I wish to be a transgender or maybe a transsexual. So, you know that you have to do it. You know that sometimes you may encounter some discrimination, but I may tell you something. I have never expected to meet a big wall of discrimination. That was certainly the worst thing. I didn't expect for that, but I realize now that it was the reality.
For the benefit of our listeners who may be in a position now where you were a few years ago, can you give us details about the hormone therapy you went through and the operations?
Yes. But the system or the process is very easy to understand and to handle. When you decide that you are, in my case, a girl, the process is very easy. Usually you have to encounter at least a psychiatrist and a psychologist to let them examine you and tell to people, oh, this is a girl, and she must have hormonal therapy, surgery, and so on.
How long does that take? How long do they have to examine you before they come to that conclusion?
Usually it's around 5 years period of life, because at the beginning they will ask you to live as a woman without hormone or anything else. So you will dress as a woman, live as a woman. The reason is very easy. If after 2 weeks you hate to live as a woman, you don't like that, so you will have no problem with hormones or surgery. But if after 1 year of living as full-time as a woman, and the 1 year of testing and decide that you are a woman, next step will be the hormonal therapy. Each man have, I may say, a part of female genetic background inside him. So with the hormones, usually what will happen, your boobs will just increase from 0 to A, B, C, D. The size of the boobs will depend about your genetic background, so your family. If your sister and mother have small boobs, you will have small usually. If they have big ones, you may have big ones too. So you will take hormones as long as your boobs will continue to increase.
So what you're saying is that when someone goes through the transgendered process, they don't automatically have breast implants. It's not automatically a silicone implant.
No, in my case I don't have implants. But perhaps it would have been a good solution. The problem when I takes 2 pounds on each boobs, I takes 20 pounds on each hips. So when you take hormones, sometimes some fat with, I may say, fix on you, or it will be stabilized on you, so you may increase your weight of easily 10, 20, 30, or even 40 pounds.
What are the other side effects of the hormonal therapy?
The big effect is on your penis, because usually it will shrink for at least the 2/3, so you will have just 1/3 of his regular size. You will be able to have an erection, but it will be a smaller one and a little bit painful. And you will have no more cum, because it will become more like I may say, a translucent liquid, a little bit like water, because in the same time that you take female's hormone, you take also what we call anti-androgen. Anti-androgen's hormone is a kind of hormone to stop your own male hormone, to help the female to do their job. So usually what will happen, you will have no more sperm, or I don't know exactly the word in English. But what will happen, in fact, you may have an erection, but it will be a smaller one, a little bit more painful, and you are unable to put a woman pregnant. And if you take hormones during a good period, a long one, like 2 years or 3 years, you will reach what we call the chemical castration step. So even if you stop hormones, you will need for the rest of your life hormones anyway, like a pills, because your organism will be unable to produce any hormone, male or female. So you will be condemned to take the pills for the rest of your life. It is the main, I may say, concern. But otherwise, the rest of your life is not affected. You will keep your hair on your body if you have. Your voice will not become more female. People think that hormones are just doing a lot of things. Hormones are doing two things: giving you bigger boobs and giving you more fat in your bottom, tummy or belly, and hips. This is the main effect. A little bit on the arms too, but when you take female hormone, it's for stabilization, the fat inside you. So you will have more, and that's all.
And how long were you on these hormones?
I was for about 2 years, but I always go by period of 3 months and left a 3 month gap between each 3 month period to always keep my male hormone system functional. So even if I am boobs now, I don't need female hormone on a permanent basis because my male hormone system is still functioning well.
Okay. And would you recommend that people do the same thing, to do it for 3 months, stop, and for another 3, and so on?
If you are a TS and you will have no more penis anyway, just a vagina, you don't care, it does not matter. But if you are a TG and you wish to have a functional penis, you will just go 3 months by 3 months to always give a rest to your system. Because during the 3 months that you will be on rest, your male hormone will take back their power, and you will be able to have a standard erection. The penis will increase back to its original size, and you will have a standard erection. You will not need Viagra for that.
Now that you've gone through as far as you want to go in this procedure of change, so you don't want to proceed with further operations at this time?
No, I don't.
Do you consider yourself having a new birthday because you're like a new person, or do you still celebrate your birthday every year from the time you were young?
For me, I have 2 birthdays. The original one and May the 13th, the second one.
And which one do you celebrate more?
I may say the original one because people will always celebrate the original one. But for myself, the second one is as important as the first one too.
Now that your body has changed through the hormonal treatments and the process, I'd like to ask you about orgasms. Can you still experience an orgasm, and is it less or more pleasurable now than it was before you went through the hormonal treatment?
But, the big difference is I may act in bed like a man because I have still a functional penis, but I have now lovely boobs that may be sucked by my partner. So this is the big difference. I have at least 4 sexual performance. I have both main assets, if I may say, penis and boobs. But I don't have a vagina. But if I have a vagina, I will not be with my actual partner.
You would seek out a new partner?
But she prefer my, I may say, my little extra.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you're definitely sure that you want to stay where you are and not proceed with future operations that would turn you biologically into...
I have not any reason to really go for a change right now.
Okay.
Because I may say that I am comfortable, my system is fully functional, so I don't see any reason to change it.
Where does a transgendered person go to meet new potential partners with so much discrimination out there?
I may say usually they may go in some bar, some place, or look on internet to find some club or some, I may say, point of encounter for people. But usually it's always begin with, I may say, with some bars. This is probably the best way they used to do. It's because, as a TG, I'm looking for a man, but I'm looking also for a woman. People often think that that becoming a teacher at TS will change a lot of things. If I am addicted to women, like I was, I am still addicted to women. So my first pace, if I may use this word, will be to look for a woman.
So that hasn't changed. That has not changed in this whole process.
Because I always say that you have three things in a person. You have what we call the sexual anatomy. Dress yourself, look in a mirror, and I'm sure that you will be able to say that you are a man or a woman. So sexual anatomy is what you are in a visible way. The second one is, I may say, the sexual gender. What in your mind are you, man or woman? Usually the sexual anatomy and the sexual gender are the same. And the third aspect is, even if you are a man or a woman, it does not matter, but you prefer man or woman. So if you are a gay, you have a male body and a male gender, but you prefer male. If you have an heterosexual, you have a male body, male gender, but you prefer woman. So if I was preferring woman before, I will still prefer woman tomorrow, and I am preferring woman today too. So your sexual orientation does not change because you change your body. But you may say, look, now I am a woman, I am looking for men. It's always a question about, I may say, how people may build up their mind, their own gender identity.
What is the best thing for you about being transgendered?
Best one? To wear the clothes that I love.
Really? That's the thing that gives you the greatest pleasure?
Yes, because if you ask me if I have fun with a job, give me a job and I will say yes, I have fun to be again a teacher, a lawyer, an administrator, or so on. You see, give me a job as a full-time professor at university. I say, oh, what I do the most is to teach at university. But right now I am fighting back, as I told you, for gaining my job as a teacher in a college. When I will be back as college, you ask me what will please you the most. I say, oh, to be a teacher, because I love teaching.
Now, what is the worst thing about everything you've gone through as a transgendered person?
Oh, it's very easy to understand. To be 6 foot high, with around a little bit over 200, because I am very wide too, and not to look and to have boobs and a penis at the same time, and not to look like a lovely little girl of 5'4", something like that. You see, the problem when you are transgender and you have a huge body like me, even with the best makeup, even with the best dress, you will always look a little bit oversized. So people will look at you easily. If I had the possibility to have a real full, complete full woman body, I say somebody like 5'7", 125 pounds, and so on, a very sexy look, I will be gladly to accept to be a full woman because I will be invisible in the mass. The problem when you are someone like me, I am not alone with my size. I know more TG that are taller and wider than me. The problem is that we usually wish to be invisible. But with our body and our size, we are not. And this is certainly the worst thing. Everybody can, can look at us and say, oh, look, she's a guy in dress or something like that. We hate that, but we are stuck like that.
What would you say are the biggest sacrifices that a transgendered person has to make in order to live the life they want?
To lose many people around her, to lose some family member, to lose a spouse, to lose children, to lose friends, to lose a job. We lose many things just because we feel that we must be different. And that's all. And we can do nothing for changing that.
What resources can you recommend to the listeners right now who are either in the same situation as you or who are thinking about going through the process, what's out there to support transgendered people?
The best thing that I may say to these people, go on my website, www.micheline.ca, choose the English or French button, and if you are in the English, you will have Micheline the Professional and Micheline the Transgender. Go on the Transgender button and you will see a lot of information, a lot of other buttons regarding sex change, regarding my life, regarding a lot of topics. And this will be a guide, not an answer, but a guide to give you a lot of information about what will happen, when will happen, what may be the consequences, how many people you can reach, and so on. There are also hundreds and hundreds of links to TG organization, TS organization, to support group in US, in Canada, in France, and England, and so on. There are a lot of information, so it may help you and guide you. You know, it's what's like the old Woody Allen movie, everything you wish to know about sex, but you are afraid to ask question 4. But same thing a little bit. My website is everything you wish to know about TS, TG, or TV, but you are afraid to ask to someone. You will see we are thousands and may see even we are millions of people like us in America, but always in the closet, afraid to go out. And remember what Franklin Delano Roosevelt has said at his investiture speech. The only thing that you must fear is fear itself. So please get out of your closet and look, open your eyes. It's your life. You have to live your life. If you don't like to live in a closet, get out and right away. If not, you will stay in your closet, you will cry, you will tears, and you will hate your life. Girls, wake up. So my website is not the answer to all your questions, but it is at least a beginning to understand. Think that you are not alone. We are millions in America, but most of us are afraid to go out, and I understand that perfectly well. I just wish to warn you about what it's better for you.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles. We'll be back right after this.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. How do you make your sex life with a new lover unique? How do you give her experiences that she will remember for years to come? What are the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover? How do you make up for lack of sexual experience or skilled expertise? How do you make sure she is still thinking of you, even when other guys are hitting on her? Or is she on a date with someone else? This program has those answers and more, including an emotional needs analysis of these sexual experiences you are going to enjoy with your new lover. The rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. Buy this program now at franktalks.com.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and I'm Frank because I have to be. We're going into the final segment of our interview with Micheline and Montreuil. She is a lawyer and a transgendered person. Welcome back to studio, Micheline.
It's a pleasure to be with you again.
The pleasure is still mine. Let's talk about transgendered and the law. So the first thing I want to ask you is, are you legally considered a man or a woman?
Legally, as a man, I still am on my birth certificate, driver license, and so on.
And the fact that you live as a woman doesn't interfere with that?
Not at all.
And is
For every people around me, I am a woman. When I worked for the Quebec government, I was a woman, and that's all. And many people don't care about what it is written on your birth certificate. Many people look at yourself and see you look as a woman. You wish to be as a woman, and we will treat you as a woman. But if I have to fill up some paper, I will have to write M. But usually, I always write F, female, and that's all.
And you don't get anybody questioning that? You don't get anybody giving you a hard time about that?
No, usually people are too polite to question about that.
Assuming you went ahead with the full operation, where you would lose the penis, have it constructed into a vagina, and truly, lose all elements of your masculinity, would you then legally be considered a man?
No, I would be considered as a woman. Because in the law in Quebec, it's possible to have a change of dimension of sex on your birth certificate if you have passed through all the operation, all the surgery. So it's possible to be, I may say, a legal woman.
And would that apply in the United States as well?
Yes, but it depends. Law through Canada, through US, or even through Europe are not always the same. Look, even in Great Britain, it is forbidden to have a change of dimension of sex on your birth certificate. In US, many US states, it's possible. I know that there is some restriction in some states, but I don't know the rules of all states.
Okay, so in Quebec, at least, if you go through all the process of the operations, you can legally be considered the other gender.
Oh, yes. You have to fill up a request or a petition to what we call the Registry of Civil Status, and it will be obliged to give you a change of sex and a change of name too, if you wish.
I don't know if you can answer the next question. I'm very curious about the law. As it applies to transgendered persons, is there any area of law that you can think of that would apply specifically to transgendered people?
Not really, but the only part of the law that we may use when we need it, it is in the part of the Quebec or Canadian Human Rights Charter. In the federal one is Section 15, in the provincial one is Section 10 and 10.1. And both sections talks about discrimination under the sex, and the Supreme Court of Canada have decided that under the sex word is include TV, TG, TS, and so on, because it's a part of, I may say, the sex. So we must know at least that we are covered by the definition of sex under the Canadian Quebec Human Charter of Rights. It is a good beginning, but for the rest, we don't have any specific laws for protecting us. We may be subject to discrimination, and we have to fill up a petition to fight the discrimination, and it is always under the mention of sex.
Now, your name, Micheline Anne, this wasn't the name that you were born with, correct?
That's right. It is a name that I have won in courts.
Now, that's another question here. Going through the name change, what are some of the issues to legally change your name?
But in my case, I have decided that if I have to live as a woman, I will need a female name. And it was the beginning of my battle to gain a name according to my way of living. The main difference between Quebec and the other provinces or states, that in other provinces or states, you just fill up a form, pay some fees, usually around $100, and a few days ago, after your name is changed. In Quebec, you have to fight in front of the court because the Registrar of Civil Status will not change your name just for your fun. You need a very, very good reason, and for him, changing of ID like man to woman is not a serious one. So we have to gain our name in front of the court.
Well, that seems like a very, very difficult process.
In Quebec, his name in French is Directeur de l'État civil, or might I say in English, if I do a word-for-word translation, Director of Civil Status. And I have always called him the Dictator of Civil Status. He hates that. He has even protest in front of the court that I remove the word dictator because I have written in my legal paper, Dictator of Civil Status. He was furious. I say, you act as a dictator because you try to dictate our name. And it is not right, it is not true, it is not good. But he is a dictator.
What can you tell me about your case, specifically the university let you go? We talked about this a little bit earlier in the interview. And how much further before this case finally reaches its final conclusion?
I don't know, honestly. You know, I have taught in a college during 20 years. And after 20 years, I have been just fired because I have worn a dress in a shopping center. Do you think that it is fair?
I don't think it makes too much sense. I would understand if you did something on campus or at the college, at the school, if you committed an act of violence. But for them to... Who was the person that spotted you in the shopping center and made some sort of...
I don't know, just someone who has seen me and just talked to some other people that talked to some other people, and it came to the ear of the Director of Human Resources. And I was fired for that, even if I was the best professor in my department, even if students fill up petition for me, and so on. And they told me when he fires me that, hey, guy, sue us if you wish. So this is what I have done. I sue them, and it is in front of the tribunal since 8 years. We go three times in front of the arbitrator, 3 times in front of the superior court, 2 times in front of the Court of Appeal, and I've just received a judgment today, breaking again the last arbitration decision and sending back the decision to another arbitrator, because after 3, I may say, wrong decision from the arbitrator, it looks evident that we will never gain justice from this one. So I'm still fighting, probably that I hope that in the next 2 years I will have finished the processes. But can you guess that it will be 10 years without teaching at this college? It's totally unadmissible or unjust. And because this is the college and they have the money of the government, and they say, oh, no problem, we have unlimited budget to fight you. Do you think that is fair? Do you think that it's normal that the government keep a human director resource who is guilty of discrimination on job? I don't think so.
Let's talk about now the transgendered community. What can you give our listeners who, let's say, may never have met a transgendered person? What kind of people are we going to meet in the transgendered community? How many of them are male to female? How many of them are female to male? What is the age range? What are their ethnicities?
At my knowledge, there is at least more than 6 men to women for 1 woman to men, at least. Maybe 7 or 8, but there is really more male to female. And we are like you. We are professor, teacher, animator on TV or on radio. We are worker, engineer. We like other people. We are from any kind of job, any kind of I may say, way of living, any kind of from poor to rich suburb, and so on, from white to black. We are just ordinary people, like you and me. But the difference is that we have something different in our appearance, if I may say that.
If you could go back in time and visit yourself when you were much younger, what advice would you give? I
am in a very I may say, in a conflictual position. After everything that I have lived, I may say that perhaps I will never be a TG again, because I have met too much difficulty and it is too much complicated to live the life that I wish to live. On another topic, I will say that perhaps I will change as a woman as young as 16 or 17 just before going to university to begin my studies with my new name and go out in the work market as a woman with my name and my diploma. So perhaps it will be the best thing to do. But you know, it's always a question of feeling. Do you like it or don't you like it? I have met a girl in Montreuil, a transgender like me. He told me that he wished to really become a woman. I told him I'll live full-time as a woman. He done it. And he asked, take arrangement with his employer. And the employer said, no problem, come as a woman. And after 3 months, you know what he told me?
What?
I have met God, and God told me that I must live as a man, and he sent me a woman to live with me. So one day after, he changed from a girl to a man back, and live as a husband with his new wife.
Wow.
So it's the reason why we ask the people to live as a woman, for example, and they will decide. Look, one of my friends was a gay one. He go into matrimony with a woman, divorce after 3 years, live with a man during 15 years, the man die, go back and marry another woman. If it's good for an homosexual, it may be good for a transgender too. He may decide that after a certain moment of time, he does not feel anymore to be a one. It's really very personal. What do you feel inside you?
And on that note, unfortunately, we've run out of time for this interview. This has been a wonderful, frank talk. And why don't you give us your contact information again, your website address?
Yes, my website, very easy, www.Micheline, like the tire Micheline, but with an E at the end, .ca. Or to write me in my email is very simple, Micheline@Micheline.ca.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kerman. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. How do you make your sex life with a new lover unique? How do you give her experiences that she will remember for years to come? What are the rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover? How do you make up for lack of sexual experience or skilled expertise? How do you make sure she is still thinking of you, even when other guys are hitting on her? Or is she on a date with someone else? This program has those answers and more, including an emotional needs analysis of these sexual experiences you are going to enjoy with your new lover. The rules for the first 10 times you have sex with a new lover. Buy this program now at franktalks.com.